right? So we need to understand, what do we do when we recognize behaviors and activities and attitudes in the company that are contrary to Fisher's culture? What do we do with it? Because if we tolerate it, it becomes part of our culture. So that's how we rolled out the tool last month, is to address, don't avoid. So when someone does something really good, in alignment, consistent with our culture, we see that happen. Like, yes, awesome, that was awesome for our culture. We can address or avoid it. If we address it, we increase the chances that that individual is going to do it again, right? And we probably even incentivize ourselves to go out and act like, I want to act like that, right? So when we address it, we help them. And if we avoid it, we don't recognize that great behavior. Best case, they may not even know it was good. Worst case, maybe there's some resentment that no one recognizes all the great things I'm doing around here. So we want to address good behavior, reinforce the great things that we're doing in our culture. When someone does something not good, inconsistent with our culture, something like a culture vulture would do, we can also address or avoid it. Right? If we avoid it, we see some bad behavior that is inconsistent with our culture, with our values. If we avoid it, we're going to see more of that behavior, right? It wasn't addressed. And worse, we tell the rest of the company that that's okay. And it's not okay. We cannot avoid bad behavior, we'll call it, something inconsistent with our culture. We need to address it. And when we address it, if we do it properly, you have healthy conflict, which is the topic for the day, we're hopefully going to stop that behavior by bringing awareness to it, addressing it, discussing what it's doing to our culture, and hopefully we can affect real change. So the tool last month was address or don't avoid, good behaviors and bad. And that's tough for a lot of us as humans, as leaders. Confrontation is never easy for most leaders. It's easy for some, and some weirdos love it, I guess, but confrontation is not easy for most of us. But we cannot avoid it. We cannot address it. We need to address it. We cannot avoid it. And that was the point of today's training, is how do we address it? How do we have healthy conflict? It's also really important to say, well, what do we mean by culture vulture? What do we mean by bad behavior? And a really good filter for that for any organization is your core values. If those core values are truly core to your organization, with those true values, you can say that's in violation of the values. So our core values are team, customers, trust, and improvement. And as I mentioned, and this hasn't been rolled out to our company yet, but it will be, we're adding in curiosity, my favorite word. But team, customers, trust, and improvement. So when we're not working together as happy team members that are positive, having fun together, that's contrary to our culture. When we're not taking extremely good care of our customers, making decisions on their behalf, not delivering friendly, effective, easy to work with experiences, then that's contrary to our culture. If we're not trusting each other, or we're not behaving in a way that allow others to trust us, that's contrary to our culture. And we're about continuous improvement. Right? And if we're staying stagnant and we're not interested in exploring new ways of doing things, that's contrary to our culture as well. So coming back to our core values as a filter for what is good behavior, what is bad behavior, is one way to look at what do we need to address, what do we need to avoid. So what we do in our trainings, I'll roll out that recap of last month's tool, and then we do a breakout exercise. We use Teams breakout groups. And I try and get 5 to 7 people in each group, depending on the exercise. But and then I say, what we're going to do is we're going to break out. First thing you're going to do is pick a facilitator amongst your group. That person is going to facilitate brief introductions, your name, which market you're in, what your role in the company is. And then I want you to discuss, in this case, this breakout was, did you experience any situations that someone did something consistent with Fisher's culture in the last month? Right, so good behaviors, and did you address or avoid them? Then did you experience situations at Fisher's in the last month of bad behaviors, those contrary to our culture? And did you address or did you avoid it? And did you have any lessons learned from practicing or not practicing this tool in the last month? And then we break from those breakout groups, come back together collectively, and then the spokesperson from each of those groups reports their results to the group. Fantastic breakout exercise. In fact, the feedback that I got from this breakout was, from this training session, was more time in the breakout groups. I really enjoy getting to know my colleagues, people I've never been on a team's, small group like that. They're in a market or they're in a different area that I don't know. And so the breakout groups really are a nice addition to this training program.